Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Today, we recognize an outstanding employee who recently reached the 50 years of service mark. Bus operator Robert Miles moved to the region in 1969 and found a job with the Washington, Marlboro, and Annapolis Transit Company, known as WMA. The company had bus lines that served eastern side of the service area. But on his first day, Mr. Miles quickly realized that having just moved from North Carolina, he didn't know enough about the local streets to be a successful bus operator. So he went to work elsewhere, learning the roads and safe operations in multiple driving jobs that took him all across DC, Maryland, and Virginia. With that knowledge under his belt, Mr. Miles rejoined WMA in 1971, officially beginning his transit career. Shortly afterwards, in 1973, the newly created Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority took over WMA and merged its services with DC Transit, another bus operator in the area. Since then, Mr. Miles has served as a Metro bus operator and line platform instructor, which has allowed him to share his knowledge, skills, and insights with newly hired employees. After nearly 40 years of service, in 2010, Mr. Miles briefly retired from Metro. However, he had a desire to continue serving the community and returned in 2011 as a part-time operator. With 50 years of service now under his belt, Mr. Miles' safety record is impeccable. He has won Metro's annual bus rodeo skills-based competition a whopping 27 times. And he's safely driven more than 3 million miles over the past 42 years. That's the equivalent of driving around the Capital Beltway over 46,000 times without a preventable accident. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Miles on his 50th anniversary at Metro. We're fortunate to have a safety rock star like him here at Metro, setting a great example for the next generation of Metro bus operators to follow. Thank you, Mr. Miles, for everything you've done for the community.
You're welcome. And I'd like to thank you all very much for having me here and recognizing me for my 50 years of service. And I think Mr. Wienerfield said about all of it. And I'm not a speaker, but I can drive the bus safe, take people where they want to go, treat them like they're supposed, like I want to be treated, and take one block at a time safe. And that's how I did for my 50 years of service. If I can take the bus out, I want to bring it back the same way I took it out. And just continue doing the work safe and be here for a few more years, as long as I'm healthy and strong. And thank y'all very much for having me here. Okay?
Mr. Wiedefeld, any final comments?
Mr. Miles, it's nice to see you again, sir, and I'm so glad that to see you. I just hope I look as good as you after working here 50 years.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, Mr. Miles, I just have to say congratulations. What an amazing record, and one that you should definitely be extremely proud of. And I know, hearing about this yesterday from Mr. Wiedefeld and a few others, how proud they are that someone like you is working for this system and sets such an amazing example for others. And it's just really heartfelt, the comments I've heard, and really incredible, and says a lot about you, not only as a skilled bus driver, but as a person, which is really, just says it all for me personally. So anyone else like to say anything? Ms. Gideby Jenkins?
Yes, I also want to echo my appreciation and also just put it into the context of the tenure of our country during the time in which you started to serve. There was a time in which, we were just ensuring that we had equal services. And so to be able to see a face that looked like yours on the bus definitely made the difference. And as a rider, one of the things that helps to get my day started is being able to see that familiar face. And for many years, you were able to be that familiar face on many routes. And you've seen children, parents, people continue to grow through the years. And so it's beautiful, because I'm not sure that people fully understand, especially for Metro Bus. You all are the faces that folks get to see each morning and each night sometimes, and being able to get to where they need to go to, and having someone who serves with pride, someone who is dedicated, who wakes up every morning early before we do to ensure that we can get to where we need to go to, is really that legacy that we want other employees to really understand, that you all are really the face of ensuring that someone has a good day. And so I just thank you for your service. I thank you for your safety record, but I thank you for also what you have done over these last years and just ensuring that Metro is a place that people want to be able to not just come to work to, but also to be able to ride. And it's critical to have faces like yours as well as part of the story. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goodby Jenkins. Does anyone else like to make any comments?
Sure, Paul, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Michael. Yep.
Mr. Miles, good to see you. I'm sure since you were driving back in 1971, 1972, I probably was one of your customers back then when I was originally a citizen in Washington, taking the bus to work downtown as well. But what I wanted to ask you about was that Mr. Wiedefeld had remarked and mentioned that you're one of our bus rodeo champions. And it's a very impressive record, but I think it would be helpful for some of my colleagues on the board and the public at large to understand better what happens in these bus rodeos and in what kind of events are actually held. And if you're the champion, your skill at operating a bus is one that you should be proud of, and you should now tell some of my colleagues and the public at large what these contests involve and how you performed. So I'll give you the floor as a rodeo champion.
Well, these contests are really hard because you're competing between Canada, Hawaii, all over the United States. Plus, you got good operators all over the place. And it's time and skill. You make one mistake, you lose out. Like one time I made a mistake, I came in second place. I missed it from tying it by 1 point, missed it from winning it by 2 points. But you got all skilled operators doing the same thing I'm doing. And it's mostly luck and skill, which I try to do every day doing my work. I try to remember some of the skills that I need to do and continue doing it while I'm at work every day. So that helps me keep my competition going. But most of it's luck and skill, I think. Thank you.
What I want you to tell them about is some of the skills involved. I'm sure you're not, as in a horse rodeo, on a bucking bus or anything like that. I guess it's a kind of an obstacle course that you're running is one of the events.
Right, that's right. Yeah, you start out making maybe the right hand turn or the left hand turn, some of your driving skills, and putting it out there. And it's all about turning and handling the bus safe. And that's the main thing about it that I see. Because if you don't handle it safe, mainly during the whole year, you will not qualify to even be in the rodeos. So it helps your skill on your service the whole year through. So what are some of the obstacles?
Mr. Miles he's being
Very
Cutthroat.
yeah, at the very end of that, Mr. Miles, as you know, you have to get up to 25 miles an hour. You have to go between these huge barrels. You cannot hit any of the barrel, and you have to stop within a certain distance. Literally, it's just amazing to watch when we do this. In fact, when we normally do it, we have it open to the public so they can see it. But it is a very, very tough rodeo for him to compete in. And again, he's competing internationally.
That's true. Very tough. And you got a lot of competition. Very tough, yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miles.
You're welcome. All right.
Well, Mr. Miles, it really is again, a remarkable record and one that you should obviously be very proud of. And, on behalf of the entire board, just, a heartfelt thank you for your service and dedication and your continued engagement with WMATA here. Obviously, like you said, you've got a few more years in you, so that'll be quite a record. And again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, and thank you for being with us here this morning.